Alright, Algebra 2, here is the SST practice for third quarter. So you guys know how the SSTs go. So we're going to be taking 8 of these per quarter. You get to drop 2, so 4 kind of round 1 of third quarter will be 4 of these. Round 2 of third quarter will be 4, and then of those 8 you drop 2. And then fourth quarter, same thing. You'll take 4 in round 1 for fourth quarter, 4 in round 2 for fourth quarter, and you get to drop 2 of those. And each one of those quarters is worth 10%, so SSTs are 20% of the grade. So you can really move the needle on how well you do in this course. So it's nice to get these skills down. So I'm going to go through, this is what we did on the first day of class, second semester, so I'm going to go through this for those of you who were out. We've had excessive absences, so I'm trying to keep everybody on pace to the best of my ability. Okay, so number 1 says to evaluate f of 3 minus g of 2 for these two functions. So this basically says to plug in 3 into f, so that just says plug 3 into f. So 3 times 3 plus 4, 9 plus 4 is 13. And then plug in 2 into g. So g of 2 is 2 squared minus 2 times 2 plus 7. So 4 minus 4, which is 0, and then just, 7. So ultimately, this is asking you to do f evaluated at 3, which is 13, minus g evaluated at 2, which is 7, and that is 6 when all is said and done. Okay? So when you take these, first thing you'll have to do is evaluate a function. You might have to multiply them, you might have to divide them, you might have to add them, you might have to subtract them, who knows. The next one is a parabola. So we have that x squared. We saw this a bunch last semester. You have this parent function of y equals x squared, which is a parabola, but this has now been shifted right 1, and then it also has a vertical stretch times 2. So we'll deal with that. So I would probably go right in and just get the vertex here is 1, 0. Okay, got our teeny tiny little graph here, 1, 0. And then probably the easiest thing to do is to get the y-intercept. So let's let x equal to 0. And when x equals 0 here, I get 2. 0 minus 1 is negative 1 squared, which is just 2 times 1, which is just 2. So at 0, I'm at 2. Can you see this? And just pop to the other side of 1. So then at 2, I'll also be at 2. And so you can see that vertical stretch gives you sort of a more thin parabola, if you will. So 0, 2, and then, you had 1, 0. And then if you go to the other side of the vertex, you're also on level at 2. Okay, so number 3 is an imaginary, so this is a binomial times a binomial, so we're going to FOIL. 5 times 3 is 15, minus 35i. Outer with outer is minus 35i. Inner with inner is minus 9i. And then last with last is negative 3i times negative 7i, which is positive 21i squared. All right. And so combine like terms, this is, those are like terms, kind of box those. I get 15 minus 44i. The i's there are just acting like an x. And then this is plus 21, negative 1. Remember, I squared is equal to negative 1 from first semester. So this is really just negative 21. So 15 minus 44i minus 21. And these are now like terms of negative 6 minus 44i. Negative 6 minus 44i is the final answer there. Okay, finding zeros of the function means to solve it. Let's just give you guys a good little picture of this. All right, Find the zeros of the function means to solve it. So you can always use zero product property, which means to factor and solve, or you also could do the quadratic formula. So I'm going to set it to 0. I'm going to zero it out because I'm finding the zeros, which means I want to see where I cross the x-axis, which means I want y to be 0. And this one actually factors, so I'm going to use the zero product property. If you find this difficult to factor, don't worry. The quadratic formula is always there for you, and it will help you solve it. But this one actually we can get done here with our multiplication. If I put 3x here, with our multiplication, that will then combine under subtraction to get that 11. So if I put 3x and 2x here for 6x squared, so 3x and 2x makes 6x squared. Then if I split the 10 into 5 and 2 and put the 5 strategically here and the 2 here, when I go to this outer, that'll be 15x, and this will be 4x, and those certainly with different signs, because this is negative, those certainly subtract to make 11. So we would want this to be negative and this to be positive. Little strategy there. So this is negative and this is positive. Okay, so that's how that factors. Okay, but I'm solving, so I'm going to get rid of this little part here and then just solve it out. So zero product property says if these two guys multiply to 0, one or both have to be 0. So 3x has to equal negative 2, x has to equal negative 2 over 3, and 2x here minus 5 equals 0, so 2x equals 5, x 5 halves. So your two solutions here are negative 2 over 3 and 5 over 2. Okay, so on skill number 4, when you take these SSTs, you'll be solving. Remember, you always have quadratic formula. If you are struggling, which some of us do with factoring, it's absolutely perfectly fine to use the quadratic formula. Factor completely, always look for the greatest common factor first. X squared can be taken out of both of these, which leaves me with x squared. When I divide that out, I get 25x squared and minus 9. And then this is a difference of two squares, and that just factors as conjugates. 5x plus 3, 5x minus 3. And that's a pretty easy problem there. All right, so that's your practice. We'll do, like I said, 4 of these and then 4 more, round 2, drop 2, 10% of your grade, and repeat that process for quarter 4. All right, guys, there you go. Good luck on your SSTs. All right, bye.